Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very, very much for inviting us here today. It's been an absolute pleasure to be at COP24 this year. And we've come through because we are not an NGO. We are a small education company based in the United Kingdom. And we have joined forces with the UNCC Learn team. We met Mr. Angus Mackay from UNCC Learn a few months ago, and we were talking about an initiative that they had put together where the children in wealthy areas, sort of Northern Hemisphere, Swiss schools, were communicating with children in Ivory Coast, Malawi. And it was very interesting. He was explaining that the children in the Northern Hemisphere were complaining to say that climate change was affecting their ability to go skiing, whereas the children in Ivory Coast, Malawi, were saying, hang on a minute, we're having electricity blackouts, there are no more fish left in our lakes and our rivers, and we've lost most of our forests, and it's very, very difficult for us to learn. So we were discussing how, with our business in the UK, we created initially a handwriting scheme, which Hannah Jane was our presenter. She started filming these handwriting lessons from the age of 4 years old, and she's filmed hundreds of lessons, and she teaches hundreds and thousands of children how to write throughout the United Kingdom every 30 minutes of the school day. Because we found that children teach children. It's far easier and far better for children to communicate a lesson or an instruction to another child. It's that peer-to-peer learning which is so important. So we had a chat with Angus and we said, why don't we try this with a project with UNCC Learn? And it grew exponentially from there. And what we thought about with Angus and his team, with Daniela and Christina and Lukasz, we came up with a concept of having one climate change teacher in every school. And the reason we thought that this would be effective is because we needed to have an adult supervising climate change education in every primary, secondary school, further education, higher education, throughout the UK and ultimately throughout the world. So we've been very, very lucky. This has all moved super rapidly. And the YPO, our Yorkshire Purchase Organisation, they are a not-for-profit organisation in the United Kingdom, and they are a resources reseller. And we had a chat with them, and they have agreed to launch this initiative to 80 schools in the United Kingdom in January. Those will be our trial schools. And then we have a platform with these children. So it's Tyler and Hannah Jane and Phoebe are going to be delivering climate change lessons to children based on the school curriculum throughout the school day. So any teacher in any school, whether it be primary or secondary school, will be able to access those lessons whenever they want to. So they can deliver lessons in STEM subjects, maths, biology, English, history, reading, writing, absolutely anything, geography, to teach children about climate change. So, for example, I'll just give you something off the top of my head. If we were delivering a GCSE lesson to a pupil, so we're talking about a child who's about 15, 16 years old, they would be doing ratios and percentages. So our lesson that Phoebe would be delivering would be talking about diminishing landmass and how climate change is affecting that using ratios and percentages. But there'll be reading lessons. We've met some amazing teachers and lecturers throughout the United Kingdom who are putting forward phenomenal ideas and lesson plan ideas so that we can go from early years, which is our 4 to 5-year-old children, to Key Stage 1, which is our 5 to sort of 10-year-old, Key Stage 2, 10 to 12, right up secondary and further education and higher education. And we're going to start with just 50 lessons. Now, we are hoping that by September 2019, we should have a coverage of every school throughout the United Kingdom. We are looking to get into more than 32,000 schools in the United Kingdom alone by September 2019. And our plan is to scale up to 51 countries in 2020. So our youth ambassadors will be traveling around the world, meeting all these interesting children, visiting schools, participating schools, speaking to children from around the world to find out how climate change is affecting them, finding out more about initiatives that they themselves are running and devising, and how we can change our world. Now that is going to become an online and a TV series. And the reason it's going to be an online series is because young children, not like me, I'm an old dinosaur. I like to watch TV, I admit, young children, everything is online. So we're hoping to have a 5-minute slot online every week following these 3 ambassadors for climate change learning around the world as they visit other children, other countries, other initiatives to see how we can change and facilitate change very, very quickly and efficiently. So Hannah Jane is a consummate professional TV presenter already in her own right by doing these hundreds of handwriting lessons. And we know that children, the frequency of a child communicating with children is far more effective than a boring old adult like me droning on, because I can see most of you in this auditorium are already snoring and fast asleep, which is a bit sad. But so, Hannah Jane, how do you feel about being a UN Youth Ambassador for Climate Change Learning?
Well, it's really a privilege. I think it's really amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm also really happy with my teachers letting me have the week here and actually being able to meet all these people and help save
the world. Yeah, save the planet.
World.
So Hannah Jane's head teacher was very kind and allowed her to take a few days off school. So she wrote her a handwritten letter and said, please, I want to go to the COP24. And her head teacher said, what is that? And we thought, well, that's a bit sad, because every head teacher around the world should know that there is an event like this. You know, we've seen there are 28,000 people a day coming through these doors. And yesterday was really interesting, wasn't it? We went to the Britain stand and we just sat there. We couldn't believe they were talking about heating and cooling systems that are going to hugely affect our world and the energy consumption. And we'd never heard about it, had we? We sat there and we just said, why are we coming here to learn about this? So really, it's about education. It's about spreading our message. We know that every school, on average, should have about 100 children. Every school is a tribe. So we know that there are 100 children. There are, on average, 200 parents, possibly with some step-parents here and there, grandparents, aunts and uncles, friends, cousins. That's a tribe of almost 2,000 people per school. And we know that if we deliver these lessons and we communicate them clearly with children, communicating to children with really interesting lesson plans. We're not talking about boring lessons with somebody standing in front going, right, now this is what you're going to do. Children teaching children, children engaging with children, children giving children concepts and ideas, and just introducing them very, very easily to climate change learning and all that is out there, because there's a huge amount of information online, but just packaging it for children so that they can go and spread that message to their families, their friends, their loved ones. Because we have to, it's okay. We also can't exactly say that children have to sort this out. It's not a child's problem,
adults
is
as
it?
well.
Who?
It's adults as well. It's not just adults, not just children. Everyone needs to do this.
Everybody.
But I think it will mostly be affected and helped when in my generation. But we can still help it further, even some more, with adults and the whole world helping.
Getting involved.
Yes, getting involved.